Hi there, Robin here. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the Boss Audio System, their marine audio actual amplifier, the MR1004. It's a 4-channel amplifier and as advertised 400 watts. Now that 400 watts is actually achieved by running it at 2 ohms. So you can either try and figure out how you're going to buy some 2 ohm speakers, or you can take really advantage of the amplifier and run 8 4 ohm speakers off of this one amplifier, which makes it quite a bargain when it comes to how much power you can get for 8 speakers in a reasonably sized package. Now, I'm not going to buy this amplifier for subwoofers, nor am I going to buy it for wakeboard speakers, nor am I probably going to buy for anything 8 inches or larger. But for everything else, that's your 6.5s, your 5 1/4s, your 4-inch, your 3.5s, anything else you've got, this is a great amplifier to use for that. And for the application, it's not just for boats. You can use it on UTVs, quads, side-by-sides. You can use it on a pontoon boat, of course. You can use it on a power boat. Doesn't really matter where you want to use it. I even have people that have these things on hot tubs. So if you need to add sound and you've got 12 volts, this is a pretty good way to go. So how do they actually make this whole thing work? Well, when we look at the amplifier on the power output side for speakers, we're going to have 4 channels, which are all screw down terminals. If you want to run 4 ohm speakers, you can either run just 1 speaker per channel and have 4 of them going, no problem, or you can run 2 of them in parallel, which means I can either double down on the wires here, or I can go positive and negatives to the first speaker and then run positive and negatives to the second speaker, and now I'm running it in 2 ohms. Now, I said earlier, I wouldn't recommend this for subwoofers. The channels are not bridgeable. There's no crossovers on them. This is strictly to run speakers in a straight up fashion. So I'm going to use the RCA terminals or high level inputs on the input side, and that's going to get me straight amplification on the output side. When we're actually looking at the power connections to it, it's very straightforward. All amps are going to follow pretty much the same rule. First thing they do is they give you a little card on the bottom that says remove the actual ground from your battery terminal, which is very important. That's always a good thing to do. It prevents any damage from happening to the amplifier, radio, or anything else on the boat. It also protects, of course, the battery and the whole system. To make the connections, you start off with the ground screw, which can go to a grounding block on the boat or directly to the battery. And on the opposite side, you have a 12 volt plus input on it. This again should also be hooked up to the battery. Always best if you have a fuse box panel and you have a heavy actual line connection back to the battery, you can go directly to that. Remember, you normally want to have 8 or 4 gauge wiring on this, especially if it's going to be a long length. Right in the middle is the remote connection. Nice part is here we can actually reference color. On your actual radio or head unit, you're going to see a blue wire. If you have a blue wire, that's how this gets turned on and off. Connect that wire to here. When you turn your radio on and off, it will turn this unit on and off. Buried right in the middle is a blue fuse, which tells me it's a 15 amp fuse and easy to replace because it's a standard automotive fuse. On the input side, you have 2 choices for plugging into it. If I have no RCAs or I have no access to the RCAs, because maybe this got put in the very back of the boat and running RCAs would be too much of a problem, you can tap into the high level inputs, which means speaker wires that are already in the back of the boat. You can use those because it's included in the packaging. Again, all color coded to match up with all standard head units. Now, are RCA inputs better than high level? Definitely the quality is slightly better, but for convenience sake, I mean, you got to weigh what's the job to get your RCA cables versus using high level. Maybe a 5% difference in sound quality. Maybe. So right in the middle, you're going to find the input level controls. Start by having these completely off, then turn the radio up to a comfortable volume level. Then bring these up slowly and gradual until you actually get the sound to balance between what you have on your head unit versus what you have on your amplifier. Doesn't mean these have to be 100%. These might only be 50 or 60%. Whatever you find to be really well balanced, that's where you're going to want to set it. If the speakers sound distorted, well, they sound distorted. Back it up a little bit. So coming back to the power, the way it's built into the system. Yes, it's 400 watts at 2 ohms, which means either 8 4 ohm speakers or 4 2 ohm speakers. If you only run 4 regular 4 ohm speakers off of it, it's going to be 200 watt. Now people say, well, I already have that on my head unit, so why would I buy an amplifier for that? Think of an amplifier as a fire hose. Think of your head unit as a garden hose when it comes to how much power comes out of it. Yes, the speed rate might be the same, 50 watts, 50 watts, but because of the overall size of that hose, garden hose, fire hose, that is really where the difference is going to be. That's why an amplifier just sounds better than a head unit, and that's why a lot of times it's better to use an amplifier in place of or on top of what you already have for your head unit. So if you're definitely going to add more speakers, this is the way to go. And there we go. That pretty much wraps up everything for this video. Boss Audio is a great name, very reliable, very dependable. Price point is always awesome on these amplifiers. Well, I hope this video helped you out today. Maybe we'll see you in the next one. Let's say thanks for watching and bye for now.